Members of the EFF Student Command filled the Solplaatje University auditorium to the rafters. Song and dance lifted the mood as party supporters waited for their deputy president to arrive. The party's second-in-command, Floyd Shivambu, called on students to help the party push back against those trying to destroy it. He says millions are being pumped into campaigns that help in destabilizing the EFF.
In the 2024 elections, and prior to that, the white capitalist establishment invested a lot of resources to delegitimize the economic freedom fighters. Through social media, through mainstream media, through everything else that they do. And we were not adequately prepared to counter an ideological political onslaught against the organization. Part of the reasons why the EFF did not grow in these elections is because there was concerted ideological warfare against the organization. For the first time, you had opposition parties who were not opposing the sitting government. All of them, they were opposing the EFF.
Shivambu reiterated the party's stance on opening the borders and uniting the African continent. He says this will help Africans reclaim their space in global politics and resources.
As a Pan-Africanist organization, we embrace Pan-Africanism to say that gradually, the founding manifesto of the EFF says we are going to advocate for the gradual integration of the African continent in terms of infrastructure, in terms of the economy, in terms of how we get to relate amongst ourselves. That we must play a meaningful role in the development of the economy in all other parts of the African continent.
Shivambu says the party almost became government this year, but decided not to participate alongside reactionary forces. He says the party will have to consider how they will continue to play a meaningful role in national politics. The party's 11th anniversary will be held in Kimberley in the Francis Baard district, where the party saw immense growth in the recent elections. In the Northern Cape, party support grew by almost 3%. Tebogo Msimanga, SABC News, Kimberley in Northern Cape.
At the same time, the economic freedom fighters have vowed to fight the government of national unity until it fails. Party leader Julius Malema says South Africans must reject the GNU at all corners because it's a sellout arrangement. The EFF leader was addressing the party's 11th anniversary rally since the formation of the party.
The economic freedom fighters marking their 11th anniversary has made it its mission to collapse the government of national unity. Julius Malema has questioned why the ANC does not want to work with progressive parties in parliament as they constitute 70%.
We've made sure where the moonshot pact fails. But it's a moonshot, but they are going to fight us, black people. That moonshot, all of those political parties combined, but really 29%. That's why DA, ibetile U10, ya sata mali moonshot, ya go ANC, because moonshot failed. And the media does not report that actually the failure and the loser is moonshot, because it got millions and millions of money, yet got 29%. Comrades, Rena, EFF, le MK, le ANC, and all progressive forces, har combine the nomoro tsa rona, we are 70% in parliament. Why is the ANC not opting for progressive organization with a 70% and fight against this 29% of the moonshot? Because the moonshot is a fight against black people. Let black people unite.
The firebrand leader has given the marching orders to his troops to defy the government of national unity until the progressive parties unite.
we are going to fight GNU. GNU is the enemy of our people. Ramaphosa is the enemy of our people. The ANC sold out the people of South Africa. That's why this GNU must fall. We must fight it everywhere. Everywhere where we go, we must tell them we reject GNU, we reject the ANC, we reject the DA. We want the government of the people. The people of South Africa said, let all black people, progressive organizations have 70%. Why is the ANC at the center of destroying the unity of black people? It's clear this ANC has been a project of whites.
Julius Malema also laid bare into Northern Cape Premier Zamani's song, labeling him a sellout.
Northern Cape, it's our land. Northern Cape belongs to us. No one will sell the Northern Cape, not to the Boers, not to the colonizers. Northern Cape will be returned in the hands of Africans.
The EFF leader has cautioned party members not to allow their detractors to divide the party ahead of its National People's Assembly in December. Samkele Masego, SABC News, Kimberley.
All right, for more on this, we're now joined by EFF National Spokesperson Leigh-Ann Mathys, and she joins us now via our telephone line. Leigh-Ann, thank you so much for your time this evening here on SABC News. I mean, today, just looking at those visuals, the EFF celebrating their 11 years of existence. Would you say that there is a lot to celebrate?
Yes, we do have a lot to celebrate. I mean, despite our decline in the elections, and we are celebrating our no retreat, no surrender attitude from our ground forces. And we also had to, go back to the drawing board and see why we declined and what were the mitigating circumstances around that. We're going to focus a lot more on building branch capacity and programming on a branch and a voting district level going forward. But yeah, overall it was wonderful. We had a wonderful day. The people in Kimberley really showed up for us. And yeah, we appreciate all the fighters and the supporters that came out today.
And as much as, we saw your deputy president, Floyd Shivambu, saying that, of course, the decline at the polls was mainly due to detractors and, of course, those who are trying to delegitimize the EFF. But on the other hand, what do you have to say to those who actually rejected the EFF and those who are saying that it seems as if this time around there was a disconnect with your supporters?
I don't know if we can go that far to say that there was a distract or that nobody actually wanted us. I mean, obviously there was a level of it. We had a lot of new political parties that came onto the political arena during these elections, that they were all funded, and as we know, because the IEC releases who was funded by who. So it was a difficult election because the establishment came out full force. And I think that was on the back, and the Deputy President also in his lecture last night highlighted that it was on the back of the EFF, when we celebrated our 10 years, forget just us filling up FNB, but just the build up to that. South Africans and the continent and the world at large witnessed the level of leadership that we have, of discipline that we have, of organizing, of precision, of being able to mobilize the forces. And FNB was just the cherry on top of everything. And that shook them in their boots. So they came out in full force. I mean, we are not naive to the fact that they are the establishment, they are well funded. And besides the money, it's the media. We know for a fact that the media plays a huge role on the consciousness of South Africa. We still have remnants of the apartheid, and so we also need that phrase of decolonizing the mind is something that is real. And we understand that that is a long haul. That's why we say ours is a generational mission. We know that we're not just going to wake up tomorrow and say, okay, things that we grew up with and believe in, it's just going to be washed away, and we are going to be have black consciousness in us.
And Leigh-Ann, a bit earlier on, you touched on the fact that, this time around in the 2024 elections, we saw a number of new political parties mushrooming. At the same time, those members of yours who are part of the Progressive Caucus, the MK party, one would say that when you look at their voter support, it may also seem as if, there was a big chunk of your supporters that may have gone to the MK party. When it comes to you and existing as a party going forward, how do you plan to separate yourself and differentiate yourself from the newly formed MK party, even though you find yourselves in this progressive caucus?
Well, we do understand, and in our conversations of consolidating the left, which is something that we raised at our 2019 National People's Assembly, that the left needs to consolidate, and that is what we are doing right now. And that is our focus. We do understand that we are up against an establishment that is well-oiled, that has been operating, before the apartheid and post the apartheid. We have institutional apartheid in a lot of structures across, whether it's economic structures, in our work, in our business, et cetera, et cetera. So the focus now is not so much of us trying to, we have come to an agreement on what are our progressive policies that we are going to push: expropriation of land without compensation. And we are in agreement on that, so that's where we are going to move. And we'll go to our different corners where we have our strongholds and push for that, and we bring our numbers together, and we must overthrow the establishment. And I think it must also be known that EFF has presence in every single legislature across the country, and the MK doesn't have that. We also have representation. Obviously, the MK hasn't contested local government elections yet, but we also have presence across most of the municipalities in South Africa as well. So our presence, we mustn't forget that, that we have presence across the country and the continent as well.
And of course, as we also now plan and head on, to the local government elections, you as a party, you've dropped significantly in KZN. One would ask, how does the EFF plan on recovering that vote and that supported lost in the KwaZulu-Natal province?
Yeah, that is what the leadership, we have been having meetings and trying to come up with strategies of doing that. And first and foremost, and one of the things we do know that we're going to do, and what I have mentioned earlier, is doing less big events and doing more branch and BD-based programs. So we need our branches to be very active and actually servicing their community. We need to pay attention to, as far as the EFF is concerned, we suppose every branch that we launch must have a minimum of 100 members. So if we're not getting at least 100 votes, a minimum of 100 votes, it means that we do not have a structure there. And that's where we're going to go in and zoom in and focus. And organizational building, that's where we move in.
And Leigh-Ann, it's a busy year for the EFF. You're going to be having your elective conference a bit later on this year. One would say in the next 4 to 5 months' time. How's the planning going for the EFF for that elective conference?
I know we just don't breathe, and our assembly always happens in the same year as the national elections. Look, we have already started. It's going to be in December. More than likely, we will have it at NASRAC. Obviously, we need to engage them and confirm dates and availability. But yeah, we have started, and our plans are we're ready to go.
All right, Leigh-Ann, thank you so much for your time and for that update. That's EFF National Spokesperson Leigh-Ann Mathys, just giving us a synopsis of the message we saw from Party Leader Julius Malema, of course, celebrating 11 years of existence.